Here is Texas House Republican Brandon Gill. He's a huge MAGA supporter. And I just want to play you an example of what these people really believe. One of the gifts of the right-wing podcast world is you get to hear what they really believe. So this is Texas House Republican Brandon Gill talking with Benny Johnston, one of the top MAGA podcasters. I would be lucky to have 1/1,000,000th of his followers. Here is Benny Johnson on the left talking to Texas House Republican Brandon Gill, and they are not outliers in the Republican Party.
It's because our culture, I believe, in many ways is superior to other cultures across the globe. We've got to recognize that not all cultures are equal. They're not all equally compatible with America's governing framework. They don't all have equal dignity. And we ought to recognize that bringing in third world countries where some lunatic is grilling a cat in an American park where children are playing around with is a culture that is incompatible with our own.
Okay. There's been one piece of anecdotal evidence of an immigrant who I think was having problems mentally grilling a cat. And yet you want to ban H-1B visas. You don't want Indian immigrants coming here because they're too compatible with the American way of life and they're brown-skinned. Go on.
Speaking of incompatibility, sometimes it's important to compare just broad numbers. The average IQ in Haiti is 68. The average IQ is 68 and 67, depending on where the numbers are. I have Grok pulled up here. Between 67 and 68. Average IQ in America is 105. How is that supposed to be compatible? How is that supposed to work? Same thing with Somalia, by the way. The average IQ in Somalia hovers around 70, and that's the threshold for mentally handicapped, according to most psychological theses here in this country. So, how are you supposed to square that, Congressman?
Wow. Thank you for that information. And thank you for sourcing it off of Twitter. Benny Johnston pulls a lot of things out of his ass, and I don't want to get into that. You've probably read about the rumors, but who's he quoting here? Where does he get the idea that the average IQ in Haiti is 67 based on a post? No sourcing, but he looks like you can trust him, right? If you're stupid and you lack critical thinking, you believe the average IQ in Haiti is 67. This is what they believe. This is what they have to believe. They continue.
Well, that's the problem. And perhaps there's a link between this and between the welfare usages that you see from migrants in many countries, which is that whenever you bring in a population who largely has not really interacted with what we would consider, the modern American world and the modern American economy, you have a very hard time staying afloat. And the result is that they become a net drain on economically on the rest of the society.
So this is just pure racism. No facts. We've been over this. They're net positive. Undocumented immigrants are net positive. They pay more into Social Security, which they can't collect. They pay more into unemployment insurance, which they can't collect. They pay more in taxes than they take back in social services. They're a net gain, and we're desperate for them. But racism, one of the things I've come to learn is, as they say, racism is a stubborn stain here in the United States. We were founded by white supremacists. And I apologize. I still am shocked by how people like this guy and Donald Trump are willing to burn all the bridges, set fire to our villages just to punish people of color. You can't overstate the role that pigmentation plays in Republican politics. The hatred for others is the end. Trump kind of uses it as a means to an end to serve the oil company so he can get elected president. But when you get down into the weeds with this guy Benny Johnson or Brandon Gill and their constituents, they would rather starve to death than see a person of color thrive. Interesting thing about this guy, Texas Congressman Brandon Gill. he is Dinesh D'Souza's son-in-law. So Brandon Gill married the daughter of Dinesh D'Souza, the conservative author. And most of you know who Dinesh D'Souza is. He was born in Mumbai, India, wasn't born in this country. And he immigrated to the United States in 1978 and became a U.S. citizen in 1991. And on May 20th, 2014, Dinesh D'Souza pled guilty in a Manhattan federal courtroom, pled guilty to violating federal election campaign laws. Trump later pardoned him. So maybe they're right. Maybe Dinesh D'Souza is proof that immigrants bring crime with them.